5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Nice to have you with us here. Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game and our numerous video platforms, the IBX Media app, wherever you listen to us or consume the show. We appreciate it. Thanks for being with us here this afternoon. We are certainly getting closer and closer to Thursday's game. What are we, 26 and a half hours away from ECU and SMU kicking off. SMU has made their way into Greenville currently, and we're looking forward to tomorrow night's game. We'll have a special expanded show out at the Town Bank Tower location. We'll start with the PJ show out of Adam Gold at 3 o'clock. Cliff Godwin will be with us talking about the fall ball season for the Pirates and their game against Clemson. We'll talk with Coach G about the continued efforts to donate to the Pirates Unite campaign and everything surrounding ECU baseball, and get his perspective on what's going on with college athletics tomorrow. That'll be at 3:15 on 94.3 The Game. Will be radio only tomorrow, or on the app. We're streaming at 943thegame.com. We'll also have with us Kevin Williams, ECU's director of golf. We'll talk with Kurt Kraft, who's the track and field coach. They have an event in cross country coming up this weekend in Greenville. John Gilbert will be with us at 4:30 tomorrow, and we'll be talking with John Gilbert about everything ECU athletics and college athletics, so you'll want to tune in for that tomorrow. And then our pregame will get underway in that window. We'll have Terrence Copper and Joey Football. Stephen Igo will be with us. Jim Zoki will be stopping by, so it'll be a full slate, as it always is, whenever we're out there for game day. And Thursdays always have an extra bit of excitement, a little bit of a buzz about them. So that's the layout for tomorrow's program. Today, we'll talk with Doug Martin coming up in a few minutes. About 12 minutes or so from now, we'll be linking up with Coach Doug Martin from the Coast to talk ECU, SMU, but also talk some of the other games around college football from the weekend that was and the weekend that will be. It was Coastal winning an App last night on, was it a walk-off field goal, Pilk, or was it just a field goal late in the game? I didn't watch it, so I was just sort of trying to, well, it was Coastal and App. So
yeah, the App lost to the Beach Chickens, haha, and it was the field goal was with 3 seconds left, so pretty much.
So it was kind of a walk-off, kind of a walk-off deal there. Texas has already punched their ticket to the ALCS. Where are the other things in baseball? Again, I love October baseball, but I'm having. It's the year where it seems like it's hard to find the games again. But what's going on in these other series, Pilk?
Well, Braves, Phillies are tied at 1 apiece. They will be getting underway in about 4 minutes for Game 3 up in the city of Brotherly Love.
Why does it seem like they've already played 6 or 7 games already in that series? It just seems like they've played every night.
Because they played last year. That's probably why it feels that way. And the Philly, with that new wild card series being 3 games, that's got a little bit to do with it feeling longer as well. And moving over to the oh, sorry, what were you about to say? My bad.
No, I said
and then at 7:07, you got Houston at Minnesota. Stros lead that series 2-1, so they're going to close that out tonight. And the 6-seeded Dodgers or D-backs tonight trying to close out the Dodgers. They're up 2-0, going for the sweep.
Okay.
Are the D-backs?
So this Braves-Phils thing probably it's a pivotal game tonight, and it probably goes the distance, right? Right?
Yeah, I would think so. It's a big opportunity in Philly. I mean, they took one in Atlanta. They could easily jump up and win this one in 4. But the Braves are historically very good against Aaron Nola, who's pitching tonight for the Phillies. So good news for Braves fans, despite being on the road and having not held serve at home.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Pilk. Pilk will have more on that coming up. Plus a huge matchup tonight on the pitch of Johnson Stadium at 7 o'clock as ECU is playing for first place against Memphis in a soccer match. It'll be Memphis somewhere in the top 25. Pilk, again, will have all the details coming up on that. So there's a little bit of news that broke this afternoon, and I think it is of some importance, and it's something that we kind of got a tip on last week, and then the meeting that they were supposed to have is canceled. Let me find it on my screen here to make sure I bring it to you as properly noted. So we've got this. Hang on. We'll set it up. There we go.
Everyone, a little breaking news for you.
Indeed. New Bern will forfeit its first 5 wins of the 2023 season because of the use of ineligible players due to excessive absences during the spring semester. So now New Bern is 2-6 with 2 games to go, including at Rose this Friday. Isn't that interesting? And then at Conley the following week. The Bears, according to Brian North at News Channel 12, could still make the playoffs if they win out. New Bern's football team was the only Craven County team to have to forfeit games. A release from Craven County reads, North Carolina High School Athletic Association imposes forfeitures to fall sports due to ineligibility. Last month, under the direction of Dr. Miller, superintendent, all athletic directors at the traditional high schools were requested to perform a self-audit to ensure the eligibility of all student athletes participating in fall sports. Craven County Board Policy 3620, extracurricular activity student organization states to be eligible for interscholastic athletics participation. Geez, you can tell an attorney wrote this. Students must have been in daily attendance 85% of the previous semester and meet all eligibility standards of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, and any locally established requirements for interscholastic athletes' participation. Yikes. The result of the audit were self-reported to the High School Athletic Association. I'm paraphrasing here, based on the information confirmed by Dr. Miller, as well as Athletic Director David Fernandez, the county AD there. The NCHSAA found that West Craven High School permitted a student who failed to meet the Craven County attendance policy and was ineligible to participate in the men's, it should be boys because they're not men yet, soccer. During the fall 23 season, level 3 infraction, call contest, which the ineligible student athlete dressed to participate, they'll have to forfeit. That's 5 matches. So they're only forfeiting 2 wins in that case. The New Bern AD, total of 4 student athletes on varsity football, 1 tennis player on the girls' tennis team found to be ineligible, and New Bern's had to forfeit those victories. Now 2-6 football on the year. They buried, obviously, the big story, that the thing that's got the most heat down there, and that's the New Bern thing that the most people seem to care about, rather than by going first with West Craven saying, we've got them too, by the way. So that is the latest out of New Bern today. Again, this is a pretty complicated issue, and it'll be interesting to see what winds up happening if any of the lawmakers on the state level get involved there in New Bern. We probably need to get North back on. Might do that Friday and see what's what down there with that in the wake of this happening. But we'll have the New Bern Rose game from J.H. Rose and Percy Daniels Stadium coming up on Friday night, and that's a big game now for New Bern because they could maybe still make the playoffs, but they've had to forfeit victories and are now 2-6 on the year. Let's see. Anything else, Pilk, that is of note that we need to make mention of here in this segment here to top things off? I want to go ahead and get a break if we don't really have anything else of note to break. The Canes are opening the season tonight. Yep. And, I guess is the window closed there, Pilk, or is there still excitement surrounding their possibility of competing for a Stanley Cup?
I think there's still very much an open window, especially in hockey. There's usually more teams in a sport like football. So, yeah, I think the fan base is still very much behind this team. And then the other thing to note, something you already hit on, was soccer. Reminder, the first 250 fans tonight received the free no quarter flag, as you already mentioned the game. But just reminder to the fans of that. So get out to Johnson Stadium early tonight, not just on time.
Yeah, it's a free ticket to ECU soccer, and you get a no quarter flag. Pilk, you need to get over there and get me a no quarter flag. I'd love one.
All righty.
That'd be great. That'd be great to have one. All right, a timeout. And when we come back, we're going to get Doug Martin linked up with us. We're going to talk some college football. We'll talk ECU and SMU, so stay tuned as we roll on here on the midweek edition of the Patrick Johnson Show.
2024s are moving in, which means 2023s are moving out. It's the model year-end move-out at Greenville Toyota. Shop new RAV4s, $289 a month. Even save on the all-new Camry, also $289 a month. At Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow-cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
At GoEco, we don't just supply the office space. We create solutions for any environment. Our state-of-the-art commercial-grade video display is perfect for watching film with the team. From film study to the field, elevate your game with GoEco.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
The 2024s are here and the 2023s need to move. It's the model year-end move-out at Greenville Toyota. Move in on new Tacomas just $299 a month. Plus, get the Greenville Advantage at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you money.
We have you covered with all the ECU news and beyond that you need for the drive home. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Okay, welcome back in. Doug Martin joins us from coastal North Carolina, the Crystal Coast. Coach, how's it going?
Doing well, Patrick. How about yourself?
Doing great. Good to talk to you. It's kind of an interesting week. I just saw something this afternoon, I guess, at USC. They're playing at Notre Dame this weekend. They're spraying the punt returners with water in practice so they can get used to rain at Notre Dame. Have you ever done anything like that? Played loud music or done anything like that to simulate conditions or noise or anything?
Yeah, I think all coaches have done that one time or another. We used to have bucket of water out there. We dunk the ball in a bucket of water and then set it down for them to snap and have to use. If you knew you were going to play in real heavy rain, crowd conditions, everybody plays a loudspeaker. Most people play music at their practices now anyway. Players love that stuff, and you just crank that up so you can't hear to make it realistic. And, whether it works or not, at least it gets some intensity in practice and it gets the players focused a little bit. So there is some benefit to it.
Did you blare music at practice, or was that at the end, I guess, of the run?
Yeah, the last probably 8 years or so, the music thing became really big, and we did it. We wouldn't do it during our individual drills or maybe segment drills like 7-on-7 and things like that, because you really wanted to be able to coach and teach. But once we got to our team part of practice, or anytime it was good on good, your first offense versus your first defense, we would do it just so the players wouldn't be able to hear and they'd have to communicate a little bit better.
There's college football tonight. Of course, we're going to talk about ECU and SMU, but there's college football tonight, including your old stomping grounds, New Mexico State, playing at 9 o'clock against Sam Houston. I think they used to be Sam Houston State, but it's just Sam Houston now. CBS Sports Network, Coach, in case you want to check it out. So
I don't
just
know.
letting you know.
There might be an episode of Seinfeld or something that'll be better than that. So I may check into that.
Is that the proverbial paint dry? Is that what I'm hearing there? That's.
Oh no! I just some of those games are hard to watch, and that would be one of them.
I had the occasion to meet your son this weekend in Clemson. He's part of the Wake Forest staff. Great young guy. I guess he's not young. To me, everybody's young now, but really cool guy. We had a good conversation about the Pirates. We had a conversation about what was going on at Wake and what's going on in college football now. And so that was pretty fun. I know you probably tuned in a little bit to that one. And it was a little bit of a tractor pull, but I think that's what Wake wanted, and Wake kind of got it, and they had their chance at the end.
Yeah, they did. I'm really proud of Corey. He's really turned into a great coach. He was my wide receiver coach and our recruiting coordinator. Did a great job. He coached at the University of San Diego before that, and he's just done really well at Wake Forest. So, really proud of him. But yeah, I think Wake got the game exactly where they wanted to. Had a chance at the end. Clemson is still really struggling on offense, though. You can see they are just. They just don't look the same at all. There's no continuity to what they're doing. I think they're really struggling.
They made an effort against Syracuse to go vertical, and they just, for whatever reason, didn't. I think, in fact, Wake even only went vertical once or twice. So it was not a game that saw a lot of attempts to stretch the field.
Yeah, Wake has had a hard time protecting the passer long enough to get vertical. That was when Hartman was there last year. That was a big part of what they did. And now they had two really good receivers that could go up and win 50-50 balls, and they lost those guys to graduation. So, they're in a real rebuild mode at Wake Forest. So, like I said before the season even started, if they win 6 or 7 and get to a bowl, it's going to be a very successful year for them. And I think they got a good chance to do that.
Yeah, I think the coaching staff there has done a tremendous job, and they have belief. Dave Clawson's a class act and a heck of a guy. So, it was interesting talking to some other Wake people. They're about to get heavy in the NIL at Wake Forest. They feel like facilities-wise, they have everything that they need now, and they're about to get heavy in NIL, it looks like.
Yeah, they just moved into a new facility that they needed desperately, practice facility. So, players' locker room, some cafeteria work where the players could eat better, things like that, nutrition, which is a big deal that Wake was really behind. They just literally moved in that facility this summer, and again, it was much needed. So, yeah, they're way behind in the NIL compared to Clemson and those type of schools. But, there's a real separation in that, Patrick. I was looking at Kentucky's coach, Mark Stoops is complaining about, Georgia and how much NIL money they have compared to Kentucky. And, that's just the world you live in now in college football, and it's only going to get more divided. It's only going to get worse before it gets better, I think.
Yeah, Doug Martin with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Just back to Clemson with one note. What is it you are seeing in their offense you don't think that they're as productive as they have been. And look, they're about to go on the road for kind of an extended period. I think there's there's an open week this week, but they're not back until they play Notre Dame in Death Valley in November.
Yeah, I think, they look like the same old Clemson athletically. They look like they have weapons. They've got guys. They got great running back. The quarterback can throw the ball. They've got a good offensive line up there. But it's like they're just not all on the same page or something. It just doesn't look like there's a consistency to them. And they're not creating as many big plays as they were before. They used to be a real explosive offense. They could score in 2 plays and get down the field. And I just don't see that from them now. I don't know I'm not close enough to that program to know what their problems are, but they're certainly not playing like they were in the past.
Yeah, there are problems. We know that at least. Anything in particular from last week that stands out or you'd like to talk about? Was there any particular game? Georgia kind of handled Kentucky. I guess Oklahoma upsetting Texas. That seems to be one that everybody's kind of talking about. So anything that and Louisville beats Notre Dame. So is there any games you want to touch on before we kind of go through some stuff that's involved this week?
Well, the thing I would say about Georgia, even though they haven't been beaten in, however many years it's been, I mean, phenomenal program. They've kind of been under the radar. Nobody talks about them very much because they're not very flashy and everything. And I think they're just starting to hit their stride offensively, starting to play really well. So look out, man. It's going to be hard to beat those guys. But Oklahoma was very impressive in their win. That was a physical football game. I thought both sides, did some good things. And Oklahoma has really come a long way in a short period of time to get where they are. So, again, that was a really good football game to watch. Louisville, you mentioned, I think that's one of the most underrated teams out there. And Coach Braum does a great job. He has everywhere he's been. But, man, you watch where they've come from last year to this year, and a lot of it's just mentality. I mean, he's instilled a mentality in them of toughness, kind of an us against the world type of deal. And he's always been a great offensive coach. They've always scored a lot of points. But, man, they're playing defense, and they're going to be a team that's going to be a problem for anybody to play here at the end of the ACC schedule.
One-time ECU offensive coordinator under Steve Logan, coached Kent State and New Mexico State as the head coach, offensive coordinator at BC, and also now offensive coordinator with the New Orleans team in the USFL. The great Coach Doug Martin is with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show this afternoon. I want to ask you about tomorrow night's ECU-SMU game. SMU has always been able to score points. They have a really good quarterback in Preston Stone, a couple of veteran runners in there. They have the skill people. It's kind of typical SMU. Where this team is different is defensively. They are a lot better than past editions of the Mustangs, and it starts up front with them especially. Got a good linebacker, good nickel, but up front, this is a really tough team that the Pirates are facing tomorrow night.
Yeah, I was watching SMU on film yesterday a little bit, offensively and defensively. Offensively, really balanced. They throw the ball well, and they create a lot of explosion plays, but, man, they run the ball good too. They got a nice, play-action pass game. They mix things up really well, in which they've always been pretty good on offense, as you mentioned, Patrick, but I think they're more balanced now than what I've seen them in the past. They used to be a lot more heavy toward the throwing the ball, but a really balanced offense. Defensively, they're playing really aggressive. And they got a lot of people up there at the line to stop the run, a lot of man coverage, which, we talked about this last week with East Carolina. I would have spent that whole open week getting ready for people to play man coverage and pressure me if I was East Carolina on offense, because they've struggled with that, against Marshall and Rice. And I got to believe that's what they're going to see, from SMU. So we'll see how much better they've gotten and if they can handle that. But I would expect SMU to play a lot of man coverage and really to force East Carolina to throw the football.
If you're the Pirates coach, do you – obviously your defense is going to have to answer the bell tomorrow night, and that's been the most consistent area of the team this year. But offensively, what would you maybe think that we might see maybe done a little bit different now that they've had a week to kind of reset things and really do that self-evaluation?
Yeah, I think, a couple of things. You got to find a way to help the offensive line protect a little bit better. So I think you're going to have ways to move the launch point where the quarterback's throwing the ball from. It can't just be, drop back passes all day. whether it's a sprint out or play action, some things just to move that launch point a little bit. And I would use a lot more three-step drop passing game, to get the ball out quickly, and let the offensive line be a lot more aggressive up front and get the ball out quick. And other than that, I think it's just, East Carolina's got to find a way or find a receiver that can get open. And if they can't get open, you got to help them get open, whether it's with motions, moving them around, stack formations, whatever you got to do. But you got to get some people open versus man coverage and anticipate that it's coming. So those things, and hopefully they can create some explosion plays out of that. I still think they've got really good talent at East Carolina. I see a lot of guys that run really well. I think the quarterback has a nice arm. But they're going to have to put those players in position to be successful.
Coach, the thing that I think that you kind of look at here is it'll be Thursday night. The students will be out in force. It's the night of the Boneyard game. 30,000 is what I'm hearing. Maybe a little more. We'll see. But the students will be a big factor in this game as far as creating early on an atmosphere. So when you have the students invested, when the students are excited and showing up, especially for a Thursday night game, that to me, I think makes a big difference.
It does. And I've always said, and it was validated to me when I left East Carolina, you don't realize how important those fans are. There are not many Group of 5 programs that have a fan base like East Carolina. I mean, you can count them on one hand. And, when I went to Kent State, New Mexico State, and even when we went on the road and played other Group of 5 programs, you just don't run into a rabid fan base like East Carolina has. And it is a weapon. And playing at home is a huge advantage for East Carolina. It always has been. So, yeah, man, get out there and cheer for those guys and be loud because they can make a difference.
Doug Martin is with us here. Let me ask you a little bit about the other game that's being played tomorrow night. And that is West Virginia at Houston. So Dana Holgrimson gets a crack at his old school. Interesting, they're in the same league now, so this could be a somewhat regular occurrence. And he's kind of stated, I guess, he never felt like he could recruit to win a conference championship of the Big 12 at West Virginia, but feels like he can at Houston. So let the sparks fly, I guess.
Yeah, again, it's going to come down to the landscape that you live in now. Whether you win at either one of those places, it's going to come down to NIL money and how many players you can get and how many players you can keep. Now, is there more of an advantage at Houston than West Virginia? I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with the finances at West Virginia. I know Houston has a lot of finance advantages. They've got a lot of money in that program, a lot of oil money in Texas that, supports that program and things like that can help with NIL and all those things. But it's just a different world because of that, Patrick. I think I texted you the other day that, where you see that Utah bought 85 scholarship players a Dodge Ram. They all got a brand new truck, every player. I mean, are you kidding me? So when you watch that, what's the SEC, what's Alabama and Georgia saying the next meeting the next day for their recruiting? Well, we're giving our guys a house, right? I mean, that's where it's going because they're not going to let Utah one-up them on that stuff. So you watch in the next couple of weeks, it's going to come out that Alabama or Georgia or somebody has done even more, and that stuff is getting out of hand. And so I don't know what anybody other than those very top schools are going to be able to do to keep players and attract players in that vein. I've noticed it even, when you look at the Group of 5 schools. I was watching Appalachian State play last night, and, they lost to Coastal Carolina. And Appalachian State's an average football team this year. And then I started looking across the Group of 5. There's not anybody ranked in the top 25 in the Group of 5 right now. And I really believe that that's a product of NIL is already starting to affect the Group of 5 schools. There's already starting that separation, which, I mean, let's be honest, that's what that was totally designed to do. They didn't want a Group of 5 competing for a national championship and being involved in those type of things, and they had to find a way to separate again. And that's what, the NIL was for, and that's what it's done. And as I look across Group of 5, I really see that separating them away from, the power conference schools even more.
UCF and Cincinnati messed it up for everybody, right?
Yeah,
I mean, really, they competed. Yeah, they competed, and Cincinnati got in there, and it was already in the works at that point that You can't let this happen
Listen,
again.
I mean, this is a burr up under my saddle, has been for years, Patrick. You know, you go back to the BCS, you know, Roy Kramer and that crowd, they created the BCS at that time to do exactly what, you know, the NIL's doing. They didn't want Boise at that time was trying to crash the party and beat Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl, all those things. And, you know, that got close. And so then they moved to the power conference, you know, FBS group of 5 model, thinking that that would do it. Well, then, you know, group of 5 schools found a way to overcome that. And so now here comes the next deal. And I don't know how you're ever going to overcome this one. I think they've done a lot of damage to college football in general with this, and particularly a group of 5 schools. But this really is a choreographed deal. And it's not through yet. I mean, there's going to be a lot of moves made yet that are going to separate, you know, even the echelon schools, you know, Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, those are going to separate from everybody else again. And, you know, maybe that's probably what's best at some point for them to get out of the NCAA totally, and then everybody else can go back to playing college football.
There is some articles, speculative articles making the rounds that certain teams for the American, including East Carolina, could be being vetted in some way for the ACC. You know, it's interesting. They've added these teams from the West Coast, and all of the teams that are being vetted in the tweets and then the articles now, the analysis pieces are all out of the American. So, you know, it was interesting. We talked to Mike Oresco, the commissioner of the American, on Monday. There are not a lot of schools out there remaining that could spend at certain levels. I know if you move to one of the P5s, you would get obviously more television money coming in. So that maybe takes care of itself eventually. But we're starting to run out of teams, too, that can just spend at a level at, say, the American, that the American operates in right now.
You are. That's absolutely true, and that's fair. And the other part of it is there's very few programs that are going to be attractive from a fan base standpoint. I mean, you know, why would you ever want UAB to be in the ACC? You know, they can't. There's 8,000 people at their games. You know, East Carolina, on the other hand, you know, huge crowds. Appalachian State, huge crowds. You know, Coastal Carolina is going that route, starting to get there. So, you know, there's some of those programs that should be more attractive than others. You know, I mentioned to you Army and Navy, just because of the military backing that they have and everything. It's a national prestige that they have would be attractive to an ACC, I would think. But the ACC is going to have to expand. If they don't, they're going to die, just like the Pac-12. So, you know, at some point they're going to have to make a decision. They're going to have to be aggressive. They're going to have to expand because they're getting ready to lose a couple of teams. I think everybody knows that's going to happen. What the timeline is on that, I don't know, but I would expect them to lose probably 4 teams here in the next year or 2.
All right. Coach, you want to keep going or take a break? What do you want to do? Can you stay through a break? That's the question.
Sure, I'm on your time.
I like this. He's checking with the sideline, though. He always checks with the sideline. I like that. A good quarterback checks with the coordinator or the head coach. Doesn't the good quarterback do that, Coach? You always check with the sideline, right?
No doubt.
All right.
No doubt.
Pilk's got an update, and then we'll come back, and I got a couple other games I want to ask Coach Martin about. Did we talk about, Doug, last week, the window getting shortened on the transfer portal?
We just touched on it a little bit, yeah.
All right, we'll start there next. I want you. Okay. I'm sure you got more thoughts on that, so we'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. You got thoughts, yeah. We'll talk about that when we come. We'll talk about it when we come back with Doug Martin. Right now, here's Philip the Ref Pilkington with a Pirate Report 94.3 The Game Sports Update.
Thanks, Patrick. Philip Pilkington here with your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. Pirate football versus SMU is just one day away. The Pirates are coming off a bye week, and Coach Houston talks about the self-scouting his team did on that bye week.
Took a look back at, all the games we've played so far, and, obviously, you can look at some areas where we need to play better and really identify those areas and scripted out practice to where, we good on good for those different situations. And so really, when you look at last week's practice, all 3 days, really put the kids in competitive situations
And sticking with Pirate Athletics, be sure to head on out to Johnson Stadium tonight as the soccer team hosts number 9 Memphis at 7 p.m. The first 250 fans will receive a free no-quarter flag. In the NFL, first-round draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts, Anthony Richardson, has been moved to the IR as he is dealing with a shoulder injury. This means he will miss at least 4 weeks. The Colts travel to Jacksonville this week, where Gardner Minshew is expected to get the start. It is opening night for the Carolina Hurricanes as they host the Washington Senators at 7 p.m. The Canes are coming off a season in which they won the Metropolitan Division and made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Moving over to Major League Baseball right now, it is currently scoreless in the top of the second in the Game 3 between the Braves and Phillies. That series is tied at 1 apiece. Later tonight at 7 o'clock, the Stros will visit the Twins. Stros lead that series 2-1, and the D-backs will look to sweep the Dodgers tonight at 9 o'clock. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. On the other side of this timeout, more with Coach Doug Martin and the P-Man.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Just because voice-over IP telephones are the latest technology in the telephone world doesn't mean they're the right choice for you and your business. Whether your internet provider is unable to support a voice-over IP phone system, or you don't have a need for high-tech features and simply want to stick with a traditional system, Spain Telecom is here to help. Spain Telecom offers a variety of services to keep your business connected and competitive. We're confident we can find the right phone system for you and your business, a system that addresses all your communication needs. Looking for a new phone system that won't break the bank? In addition to new systems, Spain Telecom also offers gently used systems that are in great shape and can save you money. No matter your needs, Spain Telecom has a solution for you. Whether it's voice over IP, on-premise systems, new or used, give us a call at 252-353-2006 and let Spain Telecom help you with your communications needs.
Hey, grab me one too.
Air Service is back at Pitt Greenville Airport, offering safe, clean facilities and flights from American Airlines. That means the short commute, quicker lines, and better prices that get you where you're going fast and easy. See it for yourself. There's great things inside at Pitt Greenville Airport.
Dan Patrick Mornings, Adam Gold Middays, and Patrick Johnson on the way home. The best sports talk lineup in the Pirate Nation is heard right here. All right, let's go. 94.3 The Game, the flagship station of the ECU Pirates and Eastern North Carolina's home for sports. Woo-hoo! More of the Patrick Johnson Show is coming up.
All right, welcome back here to the Patrick Johnson Show. Doug Martin joining us. Before we get back to Coach, I wanted to say Holton Ahlers, you had the story about Indianapolis and Richardson. They had 4 quarterbacks in to work out for him. I know Ahlers, according to a report out of Indianapolis, was one of those. I've been meaning to mention that since this morning. And I also should consult my notes even more because I had that. Could have said it at the beginning of this show. And I also had this I wanted to talk about from last week, Doug Martin. The end of the Miami Georgia Tech game. Obviously, it's the opposite of a master class on how to operate that late game situation. So, Mike Houston was telling me Monday he's got kind of a timing chart, and they update it as needed. But you have all the scenarios on this chart that time remaining, timeouts. That probably changes a little bit this year with. Well, let's just start there. So what did you have on the sideline that allowed you to know, okay, at this point we kill it, at this point we need to run it and not take a knee, et cetera?
Yeah, everybody has that. There's really no excuse for what happened there at Miami. Every coach has that chart. They have it in the press box with your coaches up there, and you have it on the sideline where your coach is down there, and you're checking that ahead of time. So that chart, it'll have, say the other team has 3 timeouts, then you can take a knee at X amount of time and run the clock out. They have 2 timeouts. You
Right.
have to do this. Everybody knows exactly how much time you can burn off by 1, 2, or 3 timeouts and by taking a knee. So that was a tough one, and then that's a really bad mistake made. And those are one of those head coaching things. You're going to be held accountable when you're the head coach for all those type of decisions, and that's why you get paid all the money you get paid. So they made a major mistake there. That should never happen.
With that said, too, did you have the 2-point chart, I guess, too?
Yeah, in fact, in the USFL, it's really different because you can go for 1, 2, or 3 points. So we even have it, we have a 3-point chart up there. So it's and some of those are decisions. Sometimes it'll say go for 2 and it'll say decision. Well, that may be a point where it's earlier in the game, so you need to decide whether you really want to do it now or not, or if it's favorable for you. But everybody has the go for 2 chart also.
What was your general rule of thumb on going for 2, or now in the case of going for 3? I mean, is it more of a second half thing for you? In your situation now, the head coach, I guess, makes the ultimate call potentially, but depending on the scenario. But you don't want to be chasing points early.
No, you don't. I would never do it in the first half of a game for sure. Usually it was halfway through the third quarter, maybe late third quarter. From then on, you may do it. Some of it depends on how good you are on offense and who you're playing too at those times. If you've got a real advantage offensively, or if it's one of those situations where you're playing an unbelievably good defense and you may not get down there very many times, so you have to do it earlier. So there's a lot of things that go into that, but that's how we handle it.
How much do you think the timeout situation? Because I noticed this Saturday some weight guys got out of bounds late in their drive, but it wasn't 2 minutes yet, so the clock still runs. Right. I guess everybody's kind of conditioned for that still. So, would you maybe hold on to some timeouts that you might, or maybe use one a little earlier in that under 4 kind of minute deal, knowing that you will have the benefit of the clock stopping like it does in the NFL in the final couple minutes?
Yeah, so we've got the same rules now. College has the same rules that we used in the USFL this year. That that clock doesn't stop on first downs or out of bounds till under 2 minutes left in the game. So, and we get the 2-minute warning too, which is like another timeout. So, you got to consider that for our deal. But you got to consider. Under 2 minutes that the clock is going to stop on first downs. It's going to stop when somebody goes out of bounds. Outside of that, it's not. So those are all things that, you got to plan out ahead of time. And again, you have people talking in your ear about, hey, coach, here's where we are time-wise. Here's what we need to be thinking about. And that's why they have so many. Right now, college staffs have analysts for this and analysts for that. They got analysts for the analyst, so it's a lot different than it was when I was coaching. We had 9 full-time assistants and that was it. You look at those staffs now, there's 20 guys out there, so they should be able to handle those things.
All right, Coach Doug Martin's with us. We touched on a little bit last week. We could expand upon it here today. So I guess this is in football, the window's been shortened to 45 days. Or when we're talking about it specifically for football, 30 days after the season to enter the portal, 15 days after spring ball. Does that put up some guardrails that are needed for this transfer portal?
I told you last week, Patrick, that's like putting lipstick on a pig. I mean, that's the NCAA trying to cover their tail, in my opinion. This is I'm not affiliated with any universities anymore, so I can kind of speak my mind. I think that's them covering their tail because they're getting so much backlash on how bad the transfer portal has been for everybody. It's not going to make any difference whether they have 30 days or 45 days. The problem with the transfer portal is this, so people understand how recruiting is really operating right now. Alabama, I know for a fact because I have a buddy that's on the staff there, they have a coach that is in charge of nothing but the transfer portal.
Right.
And that coach is looking at the best player at East Carolina, the best player at Appalachia State, the best player at, you name it, South Alabama, and they're going to go get those guys. If they're good enough, they're going to go recruit those guys out from under you. And that's where the transfer portal has hurt college football because that's a back way of doing it. Even if they're not supposed to do it that way, that's the way it's being done. And not only that, the schools like Alabama that really have a lot of clout, they're telling a young man, say they can only sign one running back in a class because of the way their numbers are, but there's two running backs that they really like. They'll tell one of them, hey, go to South Alabama for a year, work on your skills, and we'll get you out of the transfer portal next year. And that's exactly what they do. And they can do it because they're going to get NIL money and the kid will do it. So these are all the things that are happening behind the scenes that people don't think about, the NCAA never even dreamed about, and it's killing college football. It's just a bad way of doing things. And so now I think this is nothing more than a way for them to backtrack and save face a little bit. And the NCAA is really becoming insignificant. I mean, there are no more recruiting rules. There's no rules in recruiting, but they keep trying to act like there is. Just like the wide receiver, they finally made eligible at North Carolina, Tez.
Right.
I mean, they could have done that weeks ago. There was no rule to keep that from happening. And then they just make up some deal of, oh, well, we found some new information. Come on, that's been going on for a year and a half. How'd they find new information? And that stuff really irritates me about the NCAA and the way they handle things. But, that's just my opinions.
Do you think that they will put any kind of guardrails on NIL now that they've sort of done something, even if it is just window dressing for the portal?
I just think once you get that genie out of the bottle, you can't put it back in. I mean, how do you do that? How do you go back now and try to make rules about, well, you can only spend this much money or it can only come from them or that? I mean, it's the transfer portal is the same way. It's the mistake they made was they never involved the football coaches into making these decisions.
Right.
And you can look at any group in the NCAA. There's not football coaches in that group. That group that was deciding whether the wide receiver at North Carolina is going to be eligible or not, none of those guys were former coaches. They have an idea about, what a young man goes through or how it affects the coaching staff, how it affects a young man when he transfers, all those type of things. And so they don't have the fundamental knowledge that they need to make those decisions effectively.
I want to ask you about one more game this weekend. Duke hosts State. Riley Leonard is, I guess, been upgraded to day-to-day, which if he plays, even if it's on a bad wheel, is a real advantage for Duke. North Carolina State, yeah, they scored a lot of points last week with the quarterback change, but they gave up a lot of points in surviving Marshall at home. So how do you see that game Saturday night?
Yeah, NC State's got quarterback issues bad. They turned the ball over a lot. Last week was the only reason Marshall could score. But if Riley Leonard plays, and his mobility is such a big part of his game. I just hope he can move and protect himself. I don't think he can be near as effective without that. And he'll need that versus NC State, really good pressure defense. So if he plays and he's healthy, that's a different game altogether. If he plays, he's healthy enough to move and create some plays, then that'll help. If he can't move, then, it's still going to be a difficult game for Duke. But I think Duke definitely has a shot if he's healthy.
If he is healthy-ish, I mean, the Notre Dame loss was a loss, but it doesn't really change Duke's immediate goals because they're still undefeated in the ACC. Mm-hmm. So it's a conference game. It's a rivalry factor to it. How healthy would he have to be if you were making that decision?
Well, like I said, I would like to see him just enough where he can protect himself. You don't want to put him in there and him get hurt worse. And
Right.
then you lose him for 4 or 5 games. That's the thing with that, in my opinion. Now, if he can go out there and he moves well enough to protect himself and stay healthy for the rest of the season, then absolutely play him and let's go try to win that football game. Sometimes as a head coach, you have to protect a player from himself. I had Julian Edelman was one of those guys. Julian, he could have a torn PCL in his knee and he tried to play the next week, and I had to pull him out of the game and protect him from himself because he would have played the whole game. Sometimes you have to do that as a coach, and I'm sure Riley Leonard looks like the all-time competitor to me. I'm sure he's one of those guys. But like I say, if he can move and he's healthy enough to protect himself, let him play.
Coach, great to talk to you. Thanks for the time always. We could talk to you for 5 days a week, and we'd still cover a lot of. We'd get the wit and wisdom of the great Doug Martin 5 days a week. It'd be great. All right, Coach, thanks a lot, man. Nice to talk to you. Take care.
I appreciate it. I can't get Vicky to talk to me here. I'm all by myself, so good to talk to you guys anytime. I appreciate it. You guys be good.
Yep. Right. Take care. There he is, Doug Martin. Great to have him on. All right, we'll take a timeout, Pilk, and we'll come back and kind of set the table for tomorrow. Big day. And we'll get you ready for tomorrow's ECU SMU tilt. Stay with us.
Fifth Street Hardware is the home of the $9 lunch special Tuesday through Fridays. $9 specials every day, including the famous Burger Day on Tuesdays, Flatbread Pizza Wednesday, the famous Fifth Street Hardware Reuben on Thursday, and fried fish or shrimp on Friday. Plus trivia on Wednesday nights and live music every Thursday nights. And the Prime Rib Brunch Buffet has returned on Sundays. You heard that right. The Brunch Buffet with all the great items, including prime rib. Fifth Street Hardware in downtown Greenville.
Tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You can't name a lot of things that I didn't do. It's like a paper, like a book, not a Kindle. You outdated, I'm the one they getting into. And I break a sweat. Let's get it, 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 let's get it. Child, please, I don't need a towel, please.
Are you game day ready? Anson Belt, the official belt of ECU Athletics.
Are you ready for a digital hair color revolution? The Color Master Factory by Chi and LG. A masterpiece of innovation, unlimited color formulations, limitless possibilities. Long-lasting color. Chi.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
And now, the stunning conclusion of the show. It's the P-Man here on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back. We're getting ready for tomorrow, and that will be a 7:30 kick. Night of the Boneyard, painted black. Looking forward to what is going to be good weather for a home game. How about that? So hopefully a good crowd will be out. I know a lot of people are coming from out of town to go to the game, so that's a positive for sure. We'll be on the air at 3 tomorrow with the Patrick Johnson Show, and then beginning somewhere in the 4:30 half hour, we'll be coming in with Pirate Game Day Countdown, and we'll have kind of a star-studded lineup tomorrow. Coach Godwin will be with us at 3:15 on radio. Kevin Williams, director of golf, at 3:30. Kirk Kraft at 4. Track and field, their big cross-country meet coming up. John Gilbert will be with us at 4:30 tomorrow from our broadcast perch. We'll get things underway with our Pirate Game Day Countdown. Jim Zoki will be stopping by. Stephen Igo will be coming over. We'll also have Terrence Copper and Joey Football. We'll talk Pirate football. We'll hear from the coordinators, hear from some players, hear from Coach Houston, and get the SMU perspective on things tomorrow. So it'll be a full show tomorrow. Looking forward to it beginning at 3. So note that, 3 o'clock tomorrow on 94.3 The Game, 94.3thegame.com, and the IBX Media app. Thanks to Philip the Ref Pilkington. Thanks to Doug Martin for being on with us. And we'll be back tomorrow with a myriad of guests. Looking forward to that on the Patrick Johnson Show. Have a great evening, everybody.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
Call AA Hauling, 252-946-1227 or AAHauling.com.
R&D Brewing is proud to partner with the ECU Pirates, and now you can enjoy Pirates Brew, the official craft beer of ECU Athletics. Pirates Brew is a carefully curated light beer that embodies the spirit of ECU, a refreshing and easy drinking light beer. Pirates Brew by R&D Brewing is available now at grocery stores, local retailers, and at ECU athletic events.
Head over to your favorite store and enjoy a nice Pirates Brew today, or else you'll walk the plank. Hand me another Pirates Brew.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast, Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Just because voice over IP telephones are the latest technology in the telephone world doesn't mean they're the right choice for you and your business. Whether your internet provider is unable to support a voice over IP phone system, or you don't have a need for high-tech features and simply want to stick with a traditional system, Spain Telecom is here to help. Spain Telecom offers a variety of services to keep your business connected and competitive. We're confident we can find the right phone system for you and your business, a system that addresses all your communication needs. Looking for a new phone system that won't break the bank? In addition to new systems, Spain Telecom also offers gently used systems that are in great shape and can save you money. No matter your needs, Spain Telecom has a solution for you. Whether it's voice over IP, on-premise systems, new or used, give us a call at 252-353-2006 and let Spain Telecom help you with your communications needs.
Hey Pirate Nation, I'm head men's basketball coach Mike Schwartz.
And I'm Kim McNeil,
head coach of your defending American Athletic Conference champion women's basketball team.
Basketball season is just around the corner, and we're looking forward to another exciting season on the hardwood.
We need Pirate Nation to Pat Minji's Coliseum by purchasing your season tickets today.
Call 1-800-DIAL-ECU or visit ECUPirates.com to get yours now.
Thanks, and go Pirates.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
Call AA Hauling 252-946.